Ripple's CEO just said XRP could capture up to 14% of the Swift $30 trillion payments network. That's $5 trillion in value flowing through crypto rails without replacing Bitcoin. This isn't hype, it's a real world finance shakeup you need to see. And today I'm breaking down how XRP is quietly building the bridges while Bitcoin remains the digital gold it connects to. So let's be crystal clear. XRP is not trying to be Bitcoin. It isn't designed to be a store of value, and it doesn't aim to replace sound money. Instead, XRP's value proposition, at least that's what I think, lies in its utility as a bridge asset. It was built to facilitate instant, low-cost cross-border payments, the kind banks and payment processors make every day. With Ripple's growing list of partnerships, XRP is emerging as a compliance-friendly rail that helps move value between fiat systems and tokenized assets. It's especially well positioned for the real-world asset boom, where speed, trust, and settlement finality matter. Bitcoin is the digital foundation. XRP may just be the plumbing that helps Bitcoin and all of crypto flow into the traditional system. It's not about competition. It's about connection. Now, XRPL's biggest win is in tokenizing real-world assets. From real estate to carbon credits, XRP enables secure, fast, and low-cost settlement. This isn't about dethroning Bitcoin, it's about enabling functionality that Bitcoin doesn't need to handle directly. Think programmable infrastructure for banks and corporates. That's the XRP value proposition. XRPL is becoming the platform where institutions tokenize and transact real-world asset tokenization, while Bitcoin remains the global reserve of value. Different tools, same future. This isn't a next Bitcoin conversation. XRP is more like the pipes and routers of traditional finance, just on chain. It's programmable, efficient, and regulatory forward, which banks love. It supports RWA transactions and cross-border liquidity. If Bitcoin is capital, XRP is routing logic. And you can't have global economic transformation without interoperable components like XRP helping bridge the old world to the new. So if you're a Bitcoiner, what does this all mean? Well, this is a green flag, not a red one. XRP is doing what it does best, moving value across chains and across borders. Institutions are signaling demand for both digital hard money, which is Bitcoin, and compliant flexible middleware like XRP. As RWA tokenization grows, having exposure to assets that power the pipes can be a smart macro hedge. This is a rising tide, and XRP isn't just trying to flip Bitcoin, it's just helping flow into the same ocean. So let's be clear, Bitcoin remains the foundation. But in order to build a digital financial future, we also need protocols that interconnect, settle instantly, and comply where required. XRP is emerging as one of those bridge layers, especially in real-world asset tokenization and global settlement systems. This isn't Bitcoin versus XRP. It's Bitcoin and the systems that support its integration into a chaotic, aging financial world. And here's the kicker. Both Bitcoin and XRP are now reportedly included in the US Strategic Reserve. Now that's not just speculation anymore. That's recognition at the nation-state level that these digital assets are now part of the future financial playbook. So this really comes to play that XRP does have a role, as with many other digital assets. I myself am a Bitcoin investor and a long-term hodler, and I'm not concerned about XRP or indeed any other digital utility assets, purely because I've made a couple of videos where I've actually explained the makeup of the crypto industry. I've actually defined in one of those videos, which is all the more reason why you ought to subscribe in order to learn more, where I made definitions of 4 types of crypto assets that make up the crypto industry. The first one is digital commodity. For me, digital commodity is a token without an issuer. So Bitcoin is the king of all digital commodities as that leading store of value, right? Then we have digital currencies like stablecoins. So these are like the digital payment rail tokens that enable those cross-border payments, cross-border settlement transactions across the blockchain network at a global scale without having to use your credit cards like Visa or MasterCard and worry about paying those hefty 2.5% to 3% per transaction and a long lead times in terms of settlement. Stablecoins remove all of that burden and does that instantaneously on the blockchain without intermediaries or middlemen. Next, we have digital security. Now, I find XRP being part of the digital security. What do I mean by digital security? I mean a company that issues digital tokens that is run by a company and a CEO and its management team. But importantly, they offer financial token settlements, which has kind of a certain intricacy in that it has financial liabilities towards its regulator, which is the reason why digital security in terms of its own classification makes sense. So anything that you can think of tokenizing any financial instrument, for which XRP is definitely one of those because it acts as that bridging asset. So that is for me a financial tokenized asset and thereby part of this digital security. But there are other examples of digital securities like tokenized bonds, tokenized equity stocks and so on, or even tokenized private credit, which is another area that we are seeing being tokenized as we speak. So for me, that falls under that third classification, digital security. And then lastly, we have digital utility tokens. So these are like the rest of the RWA coin projects that are aimed to tokenize the non-financial analog assets onto the blockchain. So things like tokenizing real estate or even arts and collectibles or even your favorite football teams, basketball teams, that for me will be an example of that fourth classification type of crypto, digital utility, because it provides that utility value proposition to investors to be able to trade, issue these type of digital utility type tokens on the blockchain so anyone can participate, trade and make settlement transactions on the blockchain. So hopefully this kind of clears up that XRP should not be seen as a competitor to Bitcoin precisely because they fall under different classifications of crypto, different types of crypto if you'd like. Bitcoin, as a reminder, is a digital commodity, not to be confused with XRP, which is a digital security. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like button, to share the video to colleagues and friends. And if you haven't done this already, to please subscribe to my channel as I regularly publish some interesting videos such as these, anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and the future of finance. So till next time.